In my previous video, I showed you my pictures from a special trip to Toronto for the wedding of my cousin and his now wife. I mentioned that right after the wedding, we all took a trip to Phoenix in Arizona just to get some tacos and some sunshine for a few days. As with my Toronto pictures, these photos are with my Fujifilm X-T3 and the modest yet heroic 23mm f2 lens. It's a wonderful combination. At the end of the trip, we drove to the desert for a little photo shoot, and for that I used the magic 35mm f1.4, but that was just for those few desert portraits, which I'll come to. The day before we flew to Phoenix, the winter snow had arrived in Toronto. We drove through it on the way to the airport and stepped through slushy puddles as we got out of the car. Once in the shelter of Toronto Pearson Airport, we all knew would be dry and warm for days. I really enjoy the first day of exploring a new city. That moment of leaving your apartment and seeing a brand new place in daylight for the first time is so exciting. As we walked towards the center of town, it was fascinating to see the different cactus plants at the side of the big roads. And exciting too, just to see the sun in the sky. We learned while we were there that Phoenix is the 6th most populous city in the United States. It was surprising as it doesn't feel that way. It didn't feel crazy busy. But apparently the population is spread across a wide area, and although we walked for hours, I know I just saw short glimpses of the city. Phoenix doesn't appear to have an Eiffel Tower or a specially distinctive landmark in the center of town, which is actually quite refreshing, I think. Perhaps a world-famous landmark can be a lazy shortcut for identifying a place. But it makes you ask the question, what does Phoenix look like? How do you capture its essence in a few dozen pictures? How about in just one? I like the idea of saying, actually it's this building here, that's Phoenix for me. This yellow building is my Phoenix Eiffel Tower, and why shouldn't it be? I guess they should be selling gifts at the side of this wide road. I'm sure as soon as people realize how beautiful this weird angular yellow building is, especially in the sunshine beneath a blue sky, there'll be crowds here. They'll be buying little plastic models of it, snow globes and pendants. Occasionally people will propose here because, you know, this place is Phoenix. It would be like going to Paris and not seeing their tower. And speaking of romance, on one day here we drove out of the city to the desert. I photographed the brand new Mr. and Mrs. Boland among the beautiful cacti and cactuses as the sun appeared to race down behind us. Those few moments, stood surrounded by desert, were quite magical and surreal. It was all so new to me, I might as well have been standing on the moon. Looking back, I guess that was Phoenix in one picture to me. Not a tower or a castle, but that endless and beautiful alien terrain.